Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring DoW2 Retribution. Red-Rupee here, calling the shots for you tonight. And before we get started, I want to make a couple quick announcements and shoutouts. First and foremost, I wanted to give out a big thanks to my friends and fans who recently got me my awesome Christmas present. It arrived in the mail last week, and it is just so sweet. Check this bad boy out. This is a custom-painted Dreadnought, complete with a little Red-Rupee mounted on his armor. And man, oh, I love Dreadnoughts. I know I say it pretty much any time a Dreadnought comes on the field. Just little grumpy-looking, stompy robots going around being angry. So cool. But thanks to Alexander Begg for that. Actually, check him out. I'll put his website on the description. If you're looking for anything custom-painted armies or models, go check him out. Really top-notch stuff, as you can see. Of course, he goes by Eye of Horus in-game and on the boards, so he also does a lot to help out the DoW2 community as well, especially with the Elite mod recently. So anyways, that's really awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Big props to all of you that pitched in for that, and of course, Alexander Begg himself for doing such a great job on it. And also, before we get started, don't forget about MagFest happening the first weekend in the new year. Any of you guys on the East Coast, check that out. That's the Music and Gaming Festival. That's something I help run as well in my spare time. One of the many hats I wear, but definitely check that out. If you're into any sort of gaming, video games, arcade, tabletop, tournaments, awesome game-inspired concerts and soundtracks, the Overclocked Remix crew will be there, and so much more. But check that out. That is going to be super sweet stuff. And anyways, that's enough rambling for me before we get started here tonight. Let's go ahead. We're anticipating so eagerly the 2.09 Elite mod patch coming out recently, so I figured in the meantime, we're going to go back to a little retail action, of course, here on Median Cliff Mines. Let's take a look at our players, starting out on the red team as some double Imperial Guard. We've got the Lord Commissar, Mr. Mad EDI, and his teammate, I hope I'm saying it right, Zizeo, as the Lord General, my favorite IG hero. Haven't seen him too much recently, though. And then on the blue team, we've got Suds O'Rourke as the Tyrannid Ravener Alpha, tunneling, quick, nasty hero. Very useful in team games. And then my personal favorite, the Tech Marine, being led by Mr. Eliphas, the Inheritor. So let's go ahead, get this game started. 2-on-2 on Medium Cliff Mines. And we are rolling. So we've got double IG with an odd alliance of Tyrannid and Space Marine as their opponents. So we're going to have a pretty swarmy battle as Imperial Guard fights against Tyrannid on this side, and then we've got kind of the elite Space Marine forces fighting against the normal humans on the eastern side of the map. So pretty standard openings so far. We've got a Sentinel on the field for Zizeo, bringing in a second Guardsman squad, of course double Termagants for Suds O'Rourke, and we're seeing a very early turret right here, sitting in the middle, gonna start harassing this Ravener Alpha, and oh man, surprised not to see the stomp there on the Ravener to prevent that power cap. Of course, in retail, the Sentinel starts with his stomp, so he surely could have done that, but perhaps he's waiting for a better opportunity to use it maybe on one of the more numerous squads right here. Yeah, there he goes, right in the middle of all those Termagants. Instantly forces the retreat. That Sentinel can also just walk right over and stomp on that tunnel. Something you definitely want to keep in mind when fighting the Ravener Alpha as Imperial Guard. Since this Sentinel does have light crush, it can just crush that tunnel outright. Doesn't even need to waste time shooting at it. But Eliphas has come out into the center and kind of holding back. Not quite sure he wants to engage that turret. Wants to figure out which way it's facing. Ravener Alpha chased a bit too far. Had to fall back. And now that multi-laser turret's going to start opening up on those Termagants. Picked out a quick model right there. And kind of just waiting around, deciding where they want to engage right here. Knowing they don't want to hit that turret right away until probably waiting for a flamer or something along those lines, or until they can isolate it and take it out without the support of its army. It does actually have pretty reasonable damage output. So right now, Tech Marine just kind of playing defensively, which there's nothing wrong with. That's kind of what he's made to do. Keep him in cover and use those attacks in Tech Marine to just pound away. You can see right now, these Guardsmen should really just move up a little bit and find some cover. Either that or fall back and wait for their Commissar to get in there. Both Imperial Guard heroes now moving up to the forward of the field and getting ready to engage here. Lord Commissar already upgraded with his Power Sword, which will be very effective against his Space Marine opponent on this side of the map, and the Tech Marine also getting the Mastercrafted Bolter, which is a bit cheaper in retail than it is in the Elite mod. but of course that gives him a very nice DPS increase and a quick on-call suppression shot whenever he needs it. So here comes the engagement. Tyrannid's committing to the fight. That Lord Commissar needs to be very careful. With all of those Hormagaunts all over him, he needs to retreat right now. Hormagaunts fall back. Termagaunt's very low. You can see Lord General also upgraded. Everyone getting weapons pretty early right here, and that grenade launcher doing excellent damage to those high model count squads. And oh, but in the meantime, we have the Tech Marine hanging out in the back. He was just buying some time with that Tyrannid front to get up a turret in the meantime, and that's going to be the perfect weapon to deal with all this ranged fire on the Imperial Guard side right now. So all the action really coming down to the middle right now. Neither side surprisingly pushing the outer lanes to get to the power nodes. Quick suppression shot, tearing up these guardsmen, which just got upgraded with the flamers. They're going to move in on that turret, but I don't know if they're going to get it. They're already down to 4 models. Tech Marine's moving in to engage on his own right now, just going to start punching away at them, trying to keep them from using those flamers on the turret, keeping them locked up into melee. Lord General trying to get some shots on. Oh, and the guardsmen just have to fall back. Got that turret down to about half health with the help of the Lord General, but the Tyrannid forces are moving back in. Those guardsmen need to get out of there as they're taking heavy damage from the turret. And those Hormagaunts were moving in for the kill. Stomped by the Sentinel, but it stays up there just a second too long and goes down to all that range fire. It's just going to be tons and tons of range fire in this game, I can tell already. The only real melee we've got on the field is the Lord Commissar himself. Turret looks like it's finally going to go down here after leaving this central point pretty much null the entire game. You can see both sides pretty much sitting at max VPs. Finally, some starting to tick away as some guardsmen get that lower point and try to get a little bit of an edge here. Of course, the blue team's still going to be losing even though they finally got the central point, but this turret that the Tech Marine set up so nicely there is going to lock it down for the time being. Ravener really needs to try to engage this Lord General whenever he can, because those grenade launchers that he's upgraded with do some nice splash damage, of course, to these Termagants. If he keeps moving, it doesn't do too much, as we can see right here. But if he just continuously takes fire from that, those Termagants are going to get shredded. There goes an old reliable. It misses, but kind of a reflex retreat there. A little misclick, perhaps, or a bad call by the Tyrannid player, Mr. Suds O'Rourke. In the meantime, Eliphas engaging over here. A nice special attack, sending attack flying to his doom there with that power sword. Lord Commissar getting very low, however, though, but does manage to take out 2 big old tactical marine models. He's got 40 HP. He's going to be able to get out of there with the Tech Marine tied up. Those flamers, again, trying to do some damage to buildings, but the Tech Marine's just not going to have it. He's been focusing them down for the second time now, down to 3 models. They're trying to kind of dodge around and getting some flamers in on that power, but it's not going to happen. They're going to have to retreat before they take any more damage. And in the meantime, it looks like the Tech Marine's going to take that battle. Up top, however, Tyrannid not doing quite as well. We saw some more flamers trying to get the flank on that turret, it looks like, but got pushed back by warriors and Hormagaunts. Catechin's on the field for Zizeo, and he's going to be able to kind of knock back all the range forces of the Tyrannid. However, when those warriors move in for the melee shot, it's not going to make much of a difference. I'm surprised he didn't try to get the decap on that power generator right there. Catechin's not upgraded with any of their leaders, of course, down to the 5-man power squad that they are in retail, so they do not bleed much at all. Very powerful in retail, and just do nasty, nasty anti-infantry damage in general. Everyone's heading into Tier 3 except for Suds, who's actually got the resources for it, just needs to hit the button whenever he's ready. Mad EDI down to just his 2 guardsmen, never replace that Sentinel, going to stick with being frugal in Tier 1 and head into Tier 2 with plenty of resources. Power farm under a bit of duress right here, as the warriors are most certainly going to take down at least that first generator. Falling back as the Lord General opens fire. Ultra reliable right on, oh, kind of not right on anything, right in the middle of all the Tyrannid forces. Catechin's in a lot of trouble, taking some heavy damage. The warriors are so far up that even if one pops, it's not going to do any synapse backlash. But they are going to need to get out of there soon, as you don't want to lose any models unnecessarily, even if they are going down without causing backlash. And again, I feel like you could use the Ravener more effectively here if you were keeping him in melee to kind of negate any of the range damage that these Imperial Guard units are doing. Zizeo is all range right now, so you really kind of want to keep that melee whenever you can to mitigate all that ranged firepower. In the meantime, 2 squads attacks Always good to see that against Imperial Guard, and of course, with the Tech Marine getting very low there. Oh my goodness, down to 16 HP before he finally decided to fall back. This Commissar Lord doing great damage against these techs with that power sword. Just very effective weapon and very cost effective against Space Marine and their power armor. Picking off another tech and maybe a fourth. He's already killed 2 or 3 so far. There goes another one. Wow, really leading Eliphas rather, very easily here. Commissar Lord getting very low. I don't think those scouts have a grenade. It looks like they already used one, so he's going to get out of there. In the meantime, it looks like Mr. Suds been harassing this power farm constantly up here. Managed to take out at least one more generator. The red team does have another in the front here, and I'm surprised they're building there because there's a turret that's going to focus down that node and allow the blue team to cap it without any resistance. So, interesting choice. In the meantime, we have very divergent builds coming in from both of the Imperial Guard players. We've got heavy melee Ogrins and then a Chimera transport for Zizeo. So we're going to have to see how those two things play out. Eliphas going for a Razorback, and Suds O'Rourke getting the Zone Throat kind of artillery unit for the Tyranid forces. So he's kind of hanging back after that last harass. Zizeo managed to take out that tunnel and kind of protect the power farm. Tech Marine going straight for the Signum armor, which is going to give him marked target, which I'm sure we're going to be seeing used primarily on either the Ogrins or the Lord Commissar himself. Wouldn't be surprised to see a plasma rifle or two pop up on these attacks, but he's going to have to be careful if he does choose to do that, because that Chimera could come over and give him a lot of trouble if he's not ready for any anti-vehicle. Chimera's moving in on the center, it looks like, while we have this Imperial Guard push over here. Lord Commissar getting very low. Lots of range fire on him. I'm not sure. He's got 20 HP, might be able to get out of there. Looks like he's going to just barely. Nice scout grenade. Picks off several models of that far off guard squad, but those Ogrins in the meantime doing lots of damage. I think actually a lot of that range fire power was forced down on that Lord Commissar as he was retreating, and maybe that should have been spent on other models. Las Cannon didn't manage to get any shots on the Razorback, but they did take out that Tech Marine with some chain knockdown from the Bonehead Rush. Turret managed to still stay up. Looks like that Chimera didn't manage to get his push up in. I saw it moving in on the mini-map, but they just kind of fell back in the face of all this swarm of Tyranids. Surprised they took down that generator, actually. They very easily could have captured this power, but deciding probably not going to be able to hold it for too long, so not a big deal. Oh man, look, we have a cap back here on the power. Red team actually capped the power, but it's at the cost of a guardsman squad. Looks like Zizeo was not watching it, and it fell to the Zone Throat back there. Chimera being a major nuisance on this side of the field, though. Really should probably get some Venom Broods, or at least the Corrosive Devourer for the Ravener Alpha. Tech Marines still down on this side of the map, but all the Space Marines and Scouts are moving into position to try to focus down these Ogrins and the Lord Commissar, but I don't think they quite have the firepower to do it without plasma rifles. We have a nice flank coming in from the Ravener, however, though, and yes, immediately upon seeing that, EDI decides it is not worth the risk sending in those Ogrins. Those Ogrins are really his powerhouse right now. Of course, those Guardsmen and heavy weapons team are really going to be necessary to support them against this kind of Space Marine force. Looks like the Lord General is just going to cap right out from under that sentry gun. Guardsmen now getting equipped with some plasma rifles. And Mad Edie's warning his ally to be prepared for the blob. Heavy turret looking overwatching this VP up top. Good defensive thing right now. I mean, there's really nothing that's going to be able to do with that except these warriors. So long as Zizeo keeps an eye on that, just a little bit, he'll be able to make sure that top VP doesn't get any sort of ninja cap. And really, in these big team games, that makes such a huge difference, because more often than not, especially to this kind of mid to late game phase, we're going to see more and more of these big team fights in the center here. And just one or two squads sneaking around the outskirts of the map will be able to get a nice decap on a kind of ancillary DP out here. In the meantime, we've got double transport battles happening here in the center. That las cannon, just barely not set up to hit that Razorback. It needs to get set up right now and try to push that back. Unfortunately, Mad Edie's just charging right into that turret. They need to move that Chimera around the turret, or that last cannon needs to shoot at one or the other. Looks like they're finally going to be able to take that turret down. In the meantime, up top, Tyranid's going to be able to take out that heavy turret. They focus their entire army after it. Lord Commissar taking unnecessary damage on his Ogrins. Oh, those Ogrins I don't think are going to be able to get where they need to go in time. Commissar's getting in there, still has plenty of shield left. However, Zizeo needs to get on that and help him out. There's a Manticore on the field from Zizeo as well. Lord Commissar getting very low once again. He might fall finally here. Yes, he finally goes down after making so many narrow escapes before. But with both of the red team players focused on the mid to lower part of the map, they're going to lose their power farm up top. And really, they got a nice decap on the Blues power farm, but they haven't really been causing any requisition loss in the ways of any sort of power harass. So losing that gen farm is not going to be good for them. Both of them floating quite a bit of requisition nonetheless. And Zizeo is actually already into tier 3. Eliphas also with quite a bit of resource right now. Oh man, here comes a creeping barrage. He needs to get out of there. Perfect timing, though, with the kill on the Chimera. Wow. Those Venom Broods stayed in just long enough. He saw the flares drop, knew exactly how much time he had, managed to finish off the Chimera and retreat. Of course, the danger of creeping barrage isn't the damage of getting hit by it, really, unless you get hit by all of the salvos. And with only taking that first shot, the Tyranids would have gotten knocked all the way back through that. So that retreat was very important right there, as it doesn't do any knockback on retreat. Manticore dropping in right here, trying to prevent the cap. Looks like a guardsman squad's going to go down to these Hormigons, however. And actually, I was mistaken because that Sarge, that lone Sarge gets out of there after all of his men has died with just a lone 4 HP. Heavy weapons team was caught out there by itself, had to get out of there. Decided it wasn't going to be able to do anything on its own. Got, looks like, one shot on that Razorback. And wow, the red team again has this natural power farm. So despite losing their own, they say, we don't have to build another one. We're just going to take yours if that's okay. And blue team needs to get out there and do something about that, actually, because the red team has tons and tons of power right now. And look at this sneaky tunnel way up here. Lord General finally spots it, but not in time, because here comes all the Tyranid army out of it right now. Oh my goodness. Lord General, a bit too late for that, and the big old Tyranid blob up top gonna move in for yet another kill. Nice looking Manticore strike if it hits. I'm not sure where it's going. One rocket kind of hit those Venom Broods, but that was about it. Didn't quite do too much. And these two infantry squads are not going to be enough to deal with this. Catachin's actually retreating through the majority of the Tyranid forces, but I think they'll probably get out of there. Taking lots of damage, but they're going to be alright. In the meantime, again getting capped right out from under a Devastator. The turret's down, but a Devastator's in its place. Ogren's moving in on the Razorback down south. Marked target on them, however, is going to be very brutal. One falls. It was not the Stonehead. But even if they decide to stay, they're not going to be able to deal with that. In the meantime, Ogren's out also for Zizeo. And a second Manticore is going to be coming up too. These Hormigons trying to get the cap on the VP. 151 to 413. The red team's really in trouble as far as map control. The Ravener making a huge difference as he's just been hopping out of this tunnel and constantly putting support in. Oh my goodness, look at that Manticore strike right in the middle of everything. Warrior Brood goes down. A second one. Oh my goodness, both Termagants fall. Oh, and this Zoanthrope's going to go down as well. Suds O'Rourke just lost almost his entire army in one beautifully placed Manticore strike. And with the help of the Ogrins, then also in the retreat path. Wow, Suds is down to just 2 squads, a Warrior Brood and a Hormigont Brood. Bring in a Carnifex on the field and dropping a well played on that one. He realized he stuck around when he shouldn't have under that Manticore strike. And oh, it cost him dearly. Eliphas is going to have to hold out as long as he can right now. Trying to keep both of these Guardsman squads suppressed, but one's got Flamers, one's got Plasma. Either way, it doesn't look good for this Devastator. It needs to retreat. I'm not sure if it's going to get out of there. It's got 20 HP and it escapes just barely. Both Guardsmen decide to fall back after realizing they weren't going to snag their prize. Scouts getting the decap. During that Tyranid engagement, the red team did lose their other power farm. But, I mean, they're still holding the Blues. The Blues haven't... I think the Ravener player, I think Mr. Suds, has kind of been forgetting to check his own side of the map. He's been using this tunnel, but the oversight is he hasn't really been taking this path at all, and he never sent anything to recap that power. And he still isn't. Oh, there he goes. The Hormagaunts are going to get that's much better. This Razorback been proving very useful. Eliphas has just been hopping that Tech Marine and those 2 squads attacks in and out of that thing. Ogren's going, activating their Bonehead Rush, knocking over all those Adrenal Gland Warriors. That Carnifex needs to attack that heavy turret. Is taking unnecessary damage right now. Trying to support those Warriors. They need to get out of there, though, because those Ogres are going to mess them up so bad. Down they go. Oh my goodness! Oh, why didn't he finish it off? It has 9 HP. The Ogren Blasters could have finished that off. Oh my goodness. Razorback trying to escape, but his own infantry in the way. It's got 20 HP. One more whack. Down it goes. Marked target and powered shot right there. Powered sniper shot. Not quite finishing off any of the Ogrens, but getting the entire squad very low. In the meantime, Red's getting the decap down bottom and hopefully a little bit of a gen bash. Looks like, oh no, but we have Terminators coming in from Eliphas, I think. Either that or a Venerable Dreadnought. No, it is indeed Terminators. And those guardsmen are going to have to get out of there after claiming a node and a generator for themselves. 340 to 143. Red team's trying desperately to make a comeback, while EDI is bringing a Baneblade onto the field here relatively shortly. So that may help them hold the map, but they really need to be careful at this point. They're down by about 200 VPs right here, and all things considered, that was a huge win for the red team up top. Suds O'Rourke still reeling from that one. Only still has a few squads in this. Carnifex out. Another Carnifex is coming onto the field, but it's going to be hard-pressed to keep up with this Baneblade. Mad Edie also bringing on a Manticore behind that Baneblade. So there's going to be 3 Manticores on the field, and the red team actually is in a great position, all things considered, because they already hold the VPs. They have a turret, they have a Baneblade coming out. They're in a perfect position to just stall out and defend over here. Lord General getting the Commissar Lord up under fire, and actually is going... Oh, I spoke too soon. Oh, he wasn't going to escape anyways because there were tons of Tyranids behind him. But the Baneblade is rolling ever so slowly and menacingly onto the field. Look at the size of that tank. It takes up like a quarter of the screen. It's absurd. Oh, it misses its Demolisher Cannon shot, however, though. You gotta lead your target with that one a little bit. Heavy turrets taking some damage from these Adrenal Gland Warriors, but there's Ogrens moving in. A nice old reliable right into the middle of that Tyranid blob is going to force them off with the heavy Ogrens coming in from the other side of that Baneblade. Not what you want to be flanked with at all. Lord Commissar needs to get back out there and raise his friend who sacrificed himself to get him back off the ground. Manticore actually up here in the middle. I wouldn't want that close. Get it out of... These choke points are very dangerous for vehicles, especially if there's any infantry at all. Look at this, 3 Manticores on the field. And I'm not sure where this one's going. It's moving up with the Baneblade, I suppose. Maybe trying to get a shot on the base. There's 2 rocket launchers on the field, however. Terminators, a Tech Marine Orb, and a Venom Cannon Carnifex. So they're actually pretty well equipped to deal with this Baneblade. Tyranniform going down right in the middle of Mad Edie's forces. Oh no, there goes the Manticore. That was a huge waste. Very unfortunate right there. Spires shooting up out of the ground, knocking everything over. Baneblade doing heavy damage to those Terminators, however. There are 2 Carnifexes up top here. Ogren's trying to do some damage to the Adrenal Gland Warriors. This heavy turret's still holding out. They need to focus down these Warriors, and then they can let the turret do its damage against the Tyranid Carnifexes. But right now, those Catechin's getting very low, and it looks like that turret is going to fall. Baneblade, however, still way back here. It needs to move back before the Space Marine comes back up. It's way too far up without any sort of support. At this point in the game, they can just hang back and hold these victory points and drop Manticore strikes whenever they try to get capped. I feel like they're being way too aggressive considering their current army composition. Tech Marine's moving in. That Baneblade needs to back off. Here comes another orb. When you know the Tech Marine has the orb, you need to keep your vehicles away, especially when there's this much supportive AV on the field. Adrenal Gland Warrior is going to start shredding those Flamer Guardsmen, and this Baneblade's in a lot of trouble. I'm not sure if it's going to get out of there. Spinning in place, trying to get away, but oh my goodness, it's going down. Oh no! There goes the Baneblade. That was really, I think, a perfect opportunity for the red team to come back, is hold these points and use those super units. Rocket Run goes down and solely obliterates the Ravener Alpha. Of course, it's going to be for naught, considering the fact that the Tech Marine is right nearby. Melt the Stormtroopers, however, trying to come in and put some pressure on this Carnifex. Ogryn's moving in as well. It's trying to get out of there, but it took a Melt-A-Bomb, and I don't know if it's going to escape. Ogryn's just slamming it right now with those big old Ogryn arms and guns. Some Rippers drop, but it's too late. There was no ranged threat at that point. It was really just the Ogryns that they needed to worry about. Old Reliable knocking over the Tactical Marines, allowing those Ogryns to get into position. A flanking squad from the other teammate coming in as well. Nice timing with that double Ogryn push right here. Tech Marines in a lot of trouble. Ogryns took the marked target. Gonna get suppressed and move back. They're probably gonna have to get out of there. Really, these two Ogryns need to move separately. Oh, but both squads get depressed. Catachin's moving in. Devastator realizes it's in a lot of trouble. They're not going to be able to focus down those Ogryns. They are so meaty, even when suppressed. Explosive shell going off right there, knocking back all those guardsmen, and that'll actually probably allow these scouts to win the engagement. Their damage output level 3 is pretty reasonable with those shotguns, and man, yeah, look at them just tearing up these guardsmen. Greatly outnumbered, taking flamer damage, but Ogryns are coming in. They're going to have to retreat. Luckily, they went the right direction. If they had gone up and around, they would most surely have been destroyed. Ogryns now battling mano a mano with this Venom Cannon Carnifex. Of course, it still does pretty nice melee damage. Ogryn's gonna go down, I think. I'm not sure if anyone's paying attention. They need to retreat, but it's too late for them. One final shot from the Zone Throat takes him out, but oh! He lets the Zone Throat fall to the Catachins! Oh, that was such an oversight. Suds just kinda, I don't know, his morale just must be destroyed after that heavy loss up top. Two Mana Cores still hanging out up top. I haven't been seeing them fire too much, though. 187 to 73. The red team has a chance to bring this back still. Mad Edie just floating. Oh my goodness, floating on everything right now. Swimming in requisition and power. He needs to bring something onto the field. What is he waiting for? Is he going to... I guess he's going to build another Baneblade. That's all I can figure he's doing. But they are so low on VPs, I don't know if it's worth waiting for it. He's got the requisition right now. Yep, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's bringing another Baneblade onto the field. Gene Stealer's coming out as well. Suds just going to go for a heavy melee build. They've got the Venom Brood Warriors on the field, or sorry, the Adrenal Gland Warriors on the field. Nice Mana Core strike on the point. Oh, and a final shot right on the head of the Tech Marine doing heavy damage. He's got his Signum armor, so of course he doesn't have the nice regeneration bonus that he would get from Artificers, so he decides to fall back. And it's really still anyone's game. Warriors taking lots of fire from the Catachans, which are upgraded with their Sarge, as we can see. Knocking them back a second too late. They get the cap, but there's just a pile of Space Marine right here. Oh, here comes a nice-looking rocket run. Tags everything just perfectly. The second follow-up run misses. Oh, they could have taken out several tactical Marines right there had they managed to get that second run in place. Nice use of the Commissar Flower, however, the Ogryns were so close, I'm not sure it mattered. But they are going to get into melee and force this Devastator off. The Scouts already used their Shotgun Blast, so they're not going to be able to do everything. Gene Stealer's, oh, this is nice. Gene Stealer's going to cap the point and then just hang up there and hide. That's actually exactly what the blue team needs to do. They just need to stall out for these last couple points. A nice point-blank rocket shot right into the face of that Ogryn takes him out. Scouts need to retreat, and rockets just, wow, consistently hitting these Ogryns. They're so fat. I'm not sure actually what the accuracy modifier is on Ogryns because they're so large. But 3 rockets in a row just messed them up pretty badly. Lost another model to the Terminators on retreat. 187 to 31. Red team pretty much has to go all or nothing at this point. A nice Manticore strike right on top of that disabled Carnifex. Takes it down to about 2/3 health. Gene Stealers, oh look, those Gene Stealers need to attack. Suds isn't paying attention. There he goes. And the Gene Stealers open up into a feeding frenzy right on all these guardsmen. Oh, that would be such a panic. I would not want to be in that position. Red team looks like they might be down and out. Another Baneblade's out here, but it isn't too late. It's a 2-0 cap. The red team needs to cap right now, and they're in no position to do so anywhere on the map. Gene Stealer's finishing off this Guardsman squad as the last few VPs tick down and a Baneblade on the field. You never want to lose with a Baneblade on the field, but Mad Edie just was waiting so long to get it out there that it was just too late and it had no impact. Always something to keep in mind. When you have all that float and that requisition, realize that these super units take a long time to build, and when you're down to under 100 VPs, you need something on the field quick. So, I mean, he unfortunately threw away that first Baneblade so haphazardly. I mean, I don't know if he just brought it out and then kind of just had a decafit for it and wanted to lose it or thought it was gone or what, but just a major oversight, because the red team had such a strong win against the Tyranid force that were so blobbed up and just lost everything from that Manticore strike. These Manticores, very useful, but unfortunately just not quite holding when they needed to. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. The game. It was pretty wacky. Thanks for watching. Feel free to comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I always appreciate it. Be sure to check out MagFest at magfest.org. I highly encourage any of you gamers to check it out. Of course, there will be Warhammer Tabletop. There will be 40K at the LAN, I'm sure. And anyways, that's it for me. I'll stop rambling. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.